put forth to me. I almost hate to ask, but I just don't want to think it's going to be a problem. But is there any concern about terrorist threats on existing pipelines, new pipelines? Do you have any experience in having to deal with threats of such to cause danger to a pipeline for the purpose of causing harm to others?
I think in this day and age, we all need to be concerned about homeland safety. And we work very closely with Homeland Security on issues like that. We identify facilities that are critical in nature along our pipeline and create extra observations and protections on that. We rely, and the industry prides itself on this. We do mailings every year with individuals that live along our pipeline corridor, put numbers to call. We rely a great deal on public vigilance. We work with all the fire departments. We train them annually. Like I said, we do mailings annually. We work with the sheriffs. We work with all the individual enforcement agencies. Our security folks usually have a seat in Charleston in case of a disaster or whatever. So to say that we should be concerned about that, I can't say that to you. Have we ever had an incident like that? I can say no.
I'm glad you mentioned that there are 29 tracks in Pocahontas County. One of the bigger questions also has been, have any landowners in Pocahontas County been contacted by letter for the purpose of doing surveys? And I think we're probably all assuming that the forest is the biggest landholder in the path. But could you speak to the 29 tracks?
Yeah, there's a gentleman in here, I was just standing outside the library and walked up and he handed us a letter. So they have received their letters.
Okay. Are any of those people here tonight? Anyone who's received a letter? One? Okay.
I need to speak for
Charles. We'll get to the public. We'll get to you in just a little while. I just wanted to see a show of hands for those landowners. No? So there's 2 landowners who have received letters from Dominion here in Pocahontas County?
Not in Pocahontas.
Randolph? Tell me.
Nelson.
Nelson, okay, thank you.
How many have they sent out?
Well, there's 29 tracks. I suppose the Forest Service is one of those 29, and there's 28 others. Is that right, Mr. Woodward?
Yeah. I'm Jamie Burton. I'm a senior land agent for Dominion. I'm responsible for land acquisitions for facilities and coordinating the letters, the notifications with the survey group to ensure they get the permission into that area. And letters have gone out for all the counties. Includes any of the proposed reroutes, as well as the state.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Mr. Burton, Jamie Burton.
Yes.
One question I have, sort of just a personal nature, is that we're afraid we're going to get a letter because we're right in the middle of the route, and it looks like from the thinner route, the map is going around, it may go around us, but we also have a power line right-of-way coming through across our driveway and down across our spring. And so I just have to admit we lost a lot of sleep worrying. And that's why I'm getting feedback from others of the same nature, like when are we going to know if we're going to get a letter or not? So is there potential for more letters to go out based on the results day-to-day?
Yeah, there could be new landowners notified affected by a reroute for whatever reason with the Mon National Forest. We're still working with them. I mean, nothing is defined yet other than the study corridor to the best of our ability at this point.
Okay.
So there's potential, yes. And I mean, like I said, we're still not defined yet.
I appreciate it.
We don't want you to lose sleep. But we're working with them on, and a lot of that we typically, this is nothing unusual for us, is to visit with federal agencies that have federal lands and any other issues that we may have to help asking them to help us identify a corridor. And if they move the corridor that we currently like, then that would shift us, and maybe we would have to send out additional landowner. Because you get a landowner letter, that doesn't mean necessarily the pipeline is going to be over the property. You would get a letter requesting permission to survey. And again, we have the right to say yes or no.
Yeah, and just to add to that a little more, like Jamie said, we're out there doing studies. We have cultural studies. If they find something that we have to route around, and that's the whole point of our, getting permission to get on there and survey and find out if this is a fast route. So if it changes, we can do it survey.
Thank you. Bill, anything you have any questions? Just take a few more here. Well, I want to ask about competition. Ms. Warendorf, you started to talk about, explaining to us that you want to build this project, but you're not sure if ultimately it will be built. I presume some of this is because there are competitive efforts. I know that we've heard of another, I can't remember the Synergy, that company, there's another pipeline, somebody here probably knows it. Okay, that's going to come near to here, but it doesn't look like it's touched on Pocahontas County. It looks like the only one of three that I think I've heard mentioned, I apologize, I can't recall them, that this is one that comes from Pocahontas County. Is there any chance that, are you in competition with these companies? Will FERC, perhaps if you apply to FERC, will they try to grant just one of these, two of these, three, all three of these, or more? Do you have any insight on that?
I hate to talk on behalf of my competition,
Okay.
but I hate to talk on behalf of FERC. We are aware that there are several companies out there trying to compete for the same market that we are.
All right.
And the end user, at some point in time, will probably visit with all of them and see which one is the most reliable, worthwhile project, and then they will select that project. We will then make, if it's us, we will start making our application at FERC. FERC has a lot of latitude. They can ask us to look at reroutes. And, that's why I think it's important for the Pocahontas County Commission to engage themselves as an intervener. And any of the general public can be an intervener as well. And those are the issues that are raised during the FERC process. FERC will also have what they call scoping meetings. So once they determine this is a project moving forward, they will come out and visit in the localities, municipalities, and counties along the pipeline corridor and hold their own meetings as well.
I'm glad that you talked about compressor stations, and I tried to jot down where you said they would be. Compressor stations, they're the stations that compress the gas, send it on down the line, and they're a continuous round-the-clock operation. I guess I have a couple questions about that. Of the three you mentioned, none of them were in Pocahontas County. Is that right? You mentioned Harrison and Lewis County line.
That's correct.
Central Virginia.
Yes.
Okay, I think read my own writing. And were some laterals split in North Carolina?
North Carolina, Virginia line.
Okay.
And, we're out there looking right now, negotiating with landowners.
Okay.
That negotiation process is, and once we make that determination, that information will become available at our open houses and so.
Well, let me ask you if you can help set the record straight on the difference between compressor stations again. You said three on 550-mile pipeline. That's not as bad as what I've heard. I've heard that every 10 to 40 miles there'll be a compressor station. So it sounds like it's not quite like that.
Yeah, and a lot of the comparisons between this project and other projects that may exist in the Northern Panhandle is the difference between non-jurisdictional gathering and jurisdictional gathering. We do engineering studies along this pipeline corridor, which tells us where the pressure will drop off, where we need to add that compression to increase the pressure again. The compressor stations that we are, and again, this is all in a planning process, depending on ultimately when we route this project. They will be turbine stations, much different than a reciprocal engine. You have two ways to compress. Use a turbine, which is a jet engine, is faster, more efficient. Reciprocating engines are low pressure engines, generally used in gatherings and in wet gas situations.
I guess.
I want to add to that too. As you know, the larger the pipeline, the less resistance. And with the larger the pipeline, the less resistance. So since we've got such a large pipeline, you don't need as much to push it to keep it going.
True. I just have, I think, one more question for the moment. I guess we're positioned as a pass-through county. You're coming from the central part of the state, heading to North Carolina. And I feel that one of our responsibilities as fiduciary agents of the county is to ask quite bluntly, what's in it for us?
Well, and that's a good question. I think it's worthy of ask. And I did have slides, not in the report, but I'll send it to you in the mail. You know, we've been a good steward in Pocahontas County. We've done with our employees working at BAB, they volunteer in this county. You'll see a bigger presence for us from that perspective. During the construction, you'll see a tremendous amount of business being generated in all along the pipeline corridor. The larger the pipe, the more businesses you're going to get, the more local it's going to be. We will look and identify opportunities for us to be a good corporate steward in your backyard. We are taxed, so you will see tax revenue increases as a result of our pipe being in your county. So without any strain on your operating budget, so you'll see a net increase. We are taxed through the Board of Public Works in West Virginia.
Hey, Bob.
Yes,
Randy Rogers.
Sorry?
Randy Rogers.
Thank you.
That is also part of the FERC process. As part of the FERC process, there's 12 separate resource reports that get filed with the application. One of those resource reports deals with socioeconomics, and not only existing socioeconomics within each locality of the project, but what is the potential financial benefit to the municipalities and localities along the route. So that will be part of the FERC filing as well.
Thank you, Mr. Robert. So jobs, what kind of jobs Pocahontas County does it expect from construction?
I'll get with Greg, kind of, he handles the construction.
Yeah, it's, sorry. Typically just a job of this size, a project this size, and the piping, and I explained to you the speciality of the contractor and the equipment it takes. More like this would be a union project, it'd be a union contractor, and they're have different disciplines, whether it be the operators, whether it be the laborers unions, the Teamsters unions, and then the welding department, the guys who do the welding, it's the 798. They're required by the contract with the negotiations that they can only bring in 50%, like from different states, and then the other 50% is out of the local union halls. So it'll be basically, once it's a 600-person project, 300 people can come in from other union halls, basically from other states, and 300 others will have to come in from the local unions.
What would that mean for Pocahontas County? Would that mean 300 people from Pocahontas County?
Not necessarily. It depends on how the union. West Virginia typically, as far as, and I only know the operators. My grandfather and my dad both are part of that union system. But as far as the operator speak, it's the local 66. They're based out of Charleston, West Virginia. Basically covers the whole state. So basically, those guys sign up in the union hall. They hold a list, and they're pulled from that list to come out and work. And then the laborers and the Teamsters and the 7A are pulled from different. It's broken up a little bit separate, a little bit different than the operators are. So it depends on how many folks that are in the laborers union and such that live in Pocahontas.
Now that's during construction.
Exactly.
Now during operation, obviously during construction, we'll be buying things locally, we'll be eating in your restaurants, they will be contributing to your local economy that way over a 2-year time period.
And that's not saying that the contractor won't pick up supplies, stone, building supplies, straw, things of that nature for the construction and maintenance piece while they're in there. So you're looking at roughly a 2-year project. We're looking at for construction figures. So a 600 to 800 person spread per spread. So it's kind of the way out of it. So.
Thank you, Mark.
Yes.
I think I myself probably started to sort of dominate the question time.